start recording so that people that aren't here can hear this. Yeah, just to let you all know kind of the plans ahead, because I think, you know, with everything that happened in the last few weeks, we didn't really get to cover a lot of the practicalities. So just to talk about a bit about plans moving forward and hopefully kind of answer any outstanding questions and things. But also to let you know that, you know, we're really working really closely with Elizabeth. Hi, Ellie.
Hi, Ellie.
Hi, Ellie.
Hello. 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 Oh yeah. Just recording. I was just saying to everybody that this is not really a sharing session, and I'm kind of aware that people probably want some space to share, but I wanted to talk to you all about plans for moving forwards and also kind of get your ideas for things as well. And just to make sure that we're all kind of, we're all landed in the same space, because it feels a bit kind of all over the place at the moment. And to also let you know that Elizabeth and Linda and I are working really closely together on plans for next year and the changes and things. And because I think sometimes, because there's been so much going on, it's looked maybe in the calls that Elizabeth and I aren't on the same page, but we are. And she said after the last call, shit, why did I say like you're certifying this group? I didn't mean that. I got really confused. So I wanted to make sure that you all know you are being certified by Assist. It's just that that's going to change from next year, because they're all kind of, it's going to be Linda as the trainer, so it's going to be TEK certification. So that's where that confusion came from. But we're going to be working really closely together, and the international and UK programs are going to be aligned, and it's about supporting each other in collaboration. So it's just, I think we realised there's way too much internationally and, you know, legal kind of differences and things that we need to cover, that just made it too complex to kind of run it all through Assist. So I've got a list to run through. Might be helpful to note some things down, but I'll follow up with an email with all the information that I'm going to share as well. So and if you've got any questions as I go through, just please or stop me or just jump in or whatever. And I'll send you this recording as well, just in case there's anything. No. First thing is the regularity of the sharing calls. I think everyone's kind of agreed that it would be really good to have some space to carry on practicing, sharing, getting to know each other, talking about, you know, practical plans moving forwards, how things are going when groups are set up and that kind of thing. So I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about the regularity for that. There are a couple of options. We could have fortnightly calls. There's going to be one a month supervision with Assist anyway, with all of the group, so including Alex and Shauna. And the only reason I didn't invite them to this was because it doesn't fit with, you know, we've got to kind of do things differently in the UK. It wasn't about excluding them, it was just about that differences. So it could be fortnightly, or we could set up a Zoom link to use every week at the same time, and people just drop in when you can, when you feel, you know, it would be useful, or when you need it. Or it could be more structured and kind of fortnightly, and people try and get there as much as they can. What do you think?
I have a thought around that, which is simply that at this stage, both sounds good to me, because what I've heard you say, I think, is that if it was weekly, there would be that bit more sort of assumed flexibility, drop in when you can. And what came into my head was, would it be, as far as you're concerned, Katie, you therefore would be planning to consistently be there each week or not, and how you felt about that? Just because because I suppose we would need at least to know that somebody would always be there each week, and how that would sit with you therefore, and just, yeah.
Okay. It's a difficult one, actually, and it's a good question. I suppose I was thinking more from the perspective of I don't want to see us being, you know, I'm just one of you. I'm one of the peers, so I wouldn't want to be facilitating all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also understand what you just said. It's like needing some kind of consistency, I suppose, and something to hold on to, a bit of a structured routine. I suppose if it's weekly, I'm not sure I could do that. If it's fortnightly, it would be more doable. So I suppose it's just thinking about different ways to do it. We could exchange roles to make sure that it's like a rolling kind of facilitator. So each week we plan that definitely somebody will kind of be in the role of chair or facilitator, and then everybody gets to practice as well.
My instinct is that fortnightly might be really fine. I wonder what other people think.
I think fortnightly would probably be okay. I think if it's weekly, maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I guess if it's weekly, that means there'll be smaller groups, which might be better. But a group isn't. How many people are left in the group now?
There's 10 of us.
10 of us. So I suppose, it's really difficult. I don't know. If it's weekly, then having less people would be better, because then you could talk more, I suppose. I guess in the beginning there'll be a lot to talk about, like how you're getting stuff. On the other hand, it would be nice if everybody came together every fortnight. Guys, I don't know, that was very inconclusive. I'm very sorry.
Sunday. I think fortnightly. That's my instinct. So if we did it weekly, then we're doing something weekly, plus we're having a monthly supervision. And while still it's balancing wanting plenty of support with actually we all have other commitments, and for myself I've got a lot of other commitments. So fortnightly would seem more manageable. And I'm wondering if we could have we'll be in touch. You know, there'd be nothing's wrong with somebody saying, well, I'd really appreciate, could we meet, you know, we could set another one up if there was a need, maybe.
That's a good idea. Yeah, maybe if somebody's struggling in between and kind of wanting a group perspective, we could set an extra up. The other thing was also setting up the body system. I think it was a brilliant idea, Wendy. So that we kind of got someone on, you know, straight away that we can call if we need, you know, within reason, obviously. And how did you want to say something, Graham? You took your phone off.
I just realised I'm off mic. I mean, 2 weeks is fine with me. That was it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of static somehow coming from your phone, so I don't know. Do you mind just putting it on mute while you don't want to talk, and then and then because it's difficult to hear. Just unmute it if you want to say anything. Yeah, okay. So if we have it fortnightly, and then we set up the body system as well, so that everybody's got someone to call if they need to. Does that sound okay? And then we can play it by ear, you know, we can see if it's enough, and if it's not enough, and we can change it and whatever. So I would think the second and fourth. Do you want to keep it as a Thursday evening, just because we've all got that as a regular slot? Does that work? Same time? Yeah, okay. With regards to the body system, any ideas as to how, I don't want it to kind of become this awkward, like I'm the only one left in the school ground not being picked for the team kind of thing. I'm just wondering how to go about, we're equal numbers, so we can pair up, but just wondering how to do that really. We're all going to feel that we have people that we can probably be more open with than others. I'm just wondering how to go about how we all go about pairing each other up. Does anyone have any ideas?
I don't specifically have any ideas about how to do that process, but I want to put out what I really like, knowing that it's not necessarily going to be doable.
Yeah.
I'd really like us all to meet up for a day. And out of that comes, so we all get to actually kind of engage with each other's energy as well, which is something which I know for me feels important, to feel like my body is somebody that I've kind of physically met in the flesh. And I guess it would give us more space to really honour any kind of inclusion, exclusion issues if they came up, because it's probably inevitable that there will be a process, that we will have process around being chosen, not being chosen, etc. That's my 2 pence for what it's worth. Just putting out what my preference would be.
Yeah,
building on that, we could match people up depending on how close they are. So the closest people buddy up, and then it would be really great if we could all meet up. But if that can't happen, then at least, you know, the buddies have more of a chance of meeting up because they're not so far away.
Practical thing, yeah. I think it'd be amazing if we could all meet up in person. I love that idea. And the charity has some venues, so we could definitely have a venue without a cost. It's just obviously the cost of getting there, and that kind of thing. I could speak to Hugh, who's seed funded the project, to see if he'd be willing to help out organising that. I think he'd probably love it, actually, if he met you all, to be honest.
He'd love us all to come down to Wales.
Yeah. No, I'm not thinking Wales. Not particularly practical for everyone, but yeah. Okay. Let's
Is he in Norwich?
He's in Cambridge. Oh well, he's kind of
everywhere all at the same time. You never stop.
Yeah, he's not really of a fixed abode. He's got lots of properties in lots of places. But yeah, Cambridge is kind of the hub, and there is an accommodation there as well. Ellie, do you know how many rooms there are there? I don't know how many.
Yeah, so it's a bit confusing. So it depends how many volunteers they have there at the moment, because there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 4 volunteer rooms with bunk beds in them, and then for the B&B rooms, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's including so there's 4 of those. But I don't know, you'll have to check with him, because I don't know whether they're all, they're booked out. No, they won't be booked out that often in the winter, so it should be fine.
And they've also got a hotel in Paignton in Devon,
that's also a bit
cool. But yeah. Okay, I'll check that out. I'll check it out and just share.
We could also ask about breathing space as well. Have you been to breathing space?
We could, actually. So breathing space is a beautiful retreat centre that one of the trustees of the charity owns and runs, and they have meetups there and people go for weekends, so that would be amazing.
It would be amazing. And also because I guess they have spare rooms quite a lot, because when they're not doing retreats, the rooms are all free. So
yeah, okay. And I could hire a minibus and pick people up from Norwich Station. That would be perfect, actually. It's a really good idea. Okay, I'll speak to Mads about that. Thank you. When you said that, Wendy, I got this real warm feeling, like it would be really lovely, actually, to meet in person. Yeah. Okay, so right, Linda, I wanted to let you know the significance of bringing Linda on board and why it's felt so right for the project. Linda actually ran the peer group that I went to when I was in crisis, so she kind of helped me through my own spiritual emergence, and we became really good friends because she was going through it at the same time, and we became really close, and we had all these ideas of running a project together, and this was 5 years ago. And then we kind of parted ways and went off our own journeys into the world. And we reconnected about a year ago, or earlier this year actually. And quite independently, she'd come up with a project idea which was around communication and listening and kind of honouring someone in their own experience. And when we had all the issues that came up, she talked to me about her project idea, and I said, I think that would really fit with the missing kind. So she ran it past Hugh, the charity, and they agreed. And so she started a project called Kinder Listening. And then when we had the issues that we've had, we thought how aligned her project and this project are, and that they would just fit together so kind of seamlessly, really. And that would be like a prelim to, so people would do the Kinder Listening training before they do the peer group supporter facilitator training. So that's why Linda's come on board, and now Linda and Elizabeth are kind of working together to see how that fits. So that information is being brought into the international training. So they're really kind of collaborating and coming up with a new package. So that's kind of behind the scenes in what's happening. And I'd really like to organise a call with Linda to introduce her to you all. She's going to be one of the kind of points of contact for the UK if anybody's struggling and needs. We've got a procedure in place now for if there's a crisis in anybody's group. So that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about and let you know as well, that, you know, we're not just going to leave you. There's going to be a new process in place. So obviously it wasn't practical to call America if you've got an issue. We just realised that wasn't going to work. So the new process will be, Linda and I will be kind of the first point of call. And I have got 15 years worth of experience working in mental health. So, you know, if there's a crisis, I do know some resources and kind of some channels to information to people if there is an issue. If you don't feel comfortable speaking to me, you can speak to Linda. If we can't resolve it between us, then Dr. Mick Collins is on our steering committee, and he was in the Emerging Proud film. You might remember him. He's got years of mental health history. He's an OT. He's done group process work. He's held groups. He's supervised. He's amazing. He knows all about sort of group dynamics and issues that can occur. And I've phoned him for sort of some mentor advice recently in how to deal with situations. And he's agreed to be a point of contact in crisis as well, as like a next step. So he's there as like a safety net for us if things were to go a bit awry. And then the other thing that we're going to need you all to do is the basic safeguarding training, which is just a half an hour online kind of, it's really simple, but it just shows that you know where your local safeguarding board is and how to contact them if in case of concerns about somebody's vulnerability being taken advantage of, or if someone comes to your group and you're really concerned about their welfare, you have a local point of contact as well with regards to safeguarding. So I'll send through the procedures as to how to get onto that online training in an email, follow-up email for this. Is that all right? Has anyone got any questions? Yeah.
Will we get to do the Kinder Listening training?
Yeah. So, sorry, I jumped ahead. So Linda's going to be developing some webinars on her training, so that the new UK peers can do that as like a prelim to the group facilitator training, which you guys will also have access to. But what I'd like to do as well is have a call to introduce you to Linda, so obviously you know who she is in case you need to call her, but also so you can talk to her about what you'd like. She's agreed to do a session or two with this group, so I think she'll kind of just like to talk to you about what you feel you need, really, rather than just arrange that. So what we're going to do is do a doodle poll to see when everybody is available for that call. So I'll send that out in a follow-up email as well. But yeah, if you like it, then definitely. Everything that is going to be included in the new training, we're going to give you guys as well. So you've got all the resources that everybody ongoing will have. And it's, you know, you've all helped to develop this stuff as well. So we're really honestly, I know we've said this before, but so grateful that you've stuck around, because I know it's been tough and it's been confusing, and sometimes we've been like all over the place and not had clarity. So it's just been a big part of learning what we need to do differently. So yeah, thank you. Right, I'm just looking at my notes. So I'll send the doodle poll for that. Safeguarding, as said. So practically advertising your groups. Most of you know that, well, I think all of you know that I've offered to do a free screening in your local area for Emerging Proud Film if you'd like it. Don't have to, no pressure. Are you still there, Graham? You're just a black square. Yeah, cool. You don't have to. It was just an idea to kind of initiate interest. Has everybody seen the film? Everybody seen the film? Because I can send around a free link to watch it if anybody hasn't. So the idea is to kind of attract like-minded people and people that resonate for your group. So advertising isn't such a kind of an onerous task. And then what we do is put your group on the Emerging Proud website. I'm going to create an Emerging Kind group page, so that all of your groups can be advertised on the Emerging Proud website and in a blog, so that you have some support to advertise them as well, if you'd like. This is all obviously only if you want to. I have a projector now and a screen, so if you'd like to show the film in your local area, just at a little community centre or in a coffee shop, I've got the equipment to do that now, so just let me know if we haven't already had a chat about that. I've updated the checklist. So Elizabeth sent round the assist checklist of things you have to kind of provide before you can be certified. I've updated it with just a couple of additional things for Emerging Kind. And I think this is the biggest realization, is because you guys have kind of fallen into both streams. It's like you've got the assist stuff and the Emerging Kind stuff, which I think is where some of the confusion has come from. So some of it would be like doubled up information, but it's just like adding things like the safeguarding procedures on there. That kind of thing. So you've done the safeguarding training and you know where your local safeguarding board is, and that's the main difference really for as well. I think that's probably it on the updating information on the research as well. Has anybody got any questions about any of that, or ideas, or anything you want to?
On the film showings, you mentioned, remember when we talked about you said about another film, I can't remember the name of it, made by some American guys. You sent me a link, but I never watched it. What's it called?
Crazy Wise.
Yes. Would you show that as well?
I can't show both. I can't show both under the agreement of Emerging Kind. if you want to organise a screening for Crazy Wise, I can do that, but it needs to be separately.
I haven't even seen it, so I have no idea.
It's a really brilliant film, and Michelle, we're organising 2 screenings, one for Crazy Wise and one for Emerging Proud. So yeah, actually I am doing a screening this coming week up in Saltburn with Jenny, and I think this is confusing because I am doing both, screening both films there, but it's because it was arranged before all of the Emerging Kind. It's been arranged for months. So sorry, I just can't do both in one. It has to be kind of, it's just part of the Emerging Kind project. So the Emerging Proud film is like the free offer. I can come and do another screening of Crazy Wise, but it needs to be separately because I've got a license to do that. But it has to be kind of part of a workshop. That's my agreement with Crazy Wise. So
okay,
yeah. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's amazing. It's really, you've seen it, haven't you, Wendy? Yeah, really good kind of prelim to Emerging Proud. Yeah.
Katie, when you said it's part of a workshop, I didn't realise that. How does it work with the Crazy Wise film?
Well, I've got an agreement that I could show it as part of like an interactive workshop. So as long as we do like a circle share or know some discussion around it as well, which we will do, some kind of information sharing. That's the license agreement I've got with them. So yeah.
Okay.
We can talk about that though. The January.
Okay.
Yeah. And also the screenings. If there's any room costs, I'll cover that for you as well. So obviously there's not going to be any cost to you if it's under the T. That's the difficulty, because it's kind of a conflict of interest, because I can cover the costs for the Emerging Kind, but I couldn't do that for the Crazy Wise thing outside. It'd be coming out of my own money, and I just can't afford to do that. So yeah, I've got a little bit of a budget to do it under Emerging Kind. So, obviously within reason. Don't go on to like planning it at the Strand or anything like that. Yeah. That feel okay?
Yeah.
The last thing is the research, and that's been confusing because there's been another change. So I spoke to Charlie Herriott-Maitland, who's the researcher who did work at King's College in London and did the 3-year research on anomalous experiences and the difference between those who were hospitalised and pathologised because of their anomalous experiences and those that weren't, and kind of the safety factors that kind of protected some of them from not being hospitalised. And that's quite a well-known study. It's quoted a lot. He's amazing, and he's running a new 3-year study about the importance of social safety when we share anomalous experiences. So I contacted him and said, this is so aligned with what we're creating, the peer groups that we're creating. Would you be interested in doing some research on the project? And he got really excited about it and said, it's an amazing opportunity, and he agreed to set up a kind of a separate study to run through his ethics committee, so that we could run that just through the Emerging Kind community. But when we looked at it in more detail, it was going to mean the delay of the start of the groups, because he needed to set up some control groups, and I think that was the last kind of communication I gave you about that. He was going to have to run it through his ethics committee, and we were going to need to do questionnaires before you started your groups, which felt like it was, although it was, a problem in delaying things, it felt like it was worthwhile in the long run for the outcomes that we get. But in the meantime, he's moved up to Glasgow University, And so he's got a whole new procedure with ethics and things, and a team that he doesn't know very well yet. So when I spoke to him last week, he said it would probably be better to have a provisional research internal study that we do first, like a pilot that we do with this cohort and all of our groups that we set up, so that we can do it quicker. That isn't run through ethics, but that obviously fits all of the ethical guidelines of a normal full research study, that he will support and put his name to, but that we can do more of a kind of on an informal basis. So that's the plan now. So the latest is I'm waiting for him to send me some template questionnaires for us all to use when we start, with the people that come along to your groups, that we might be able to have ready for the screenings, so people to fill those out sort of before they even start the group. And it's really so that we can prove the validity of what we're doing, and you know, whether people have been supported in their psychological well-being, and whether they've been prevented from going into more crisis at the end of a year, and that kind of thing, which gives us more clout in taking the project to get mainstream funding, community, you know, CCG group funding, take it to GPs and that kind of thing. So that's the idea behind doing the research, and it's voluntary. You don't have to be involved if you're not. It would be really, I'd be really grateful if you would be willing to be part of it, because it's obviously the more quantitative answer we can get in a small numbers, the more impact that will have. So I'll share more information with you about that as I have it, but that's kind of where that's at now. And I have got a volunteer to help somebody at the Manchester Emerging Proud screening, just came forward and said, I'm retiring, I'm a researcher, I'm doing a master's in, I can't remember exactly what his course is, but it's mental health and communication or something, and he wants to write his thesis on this. So, he is volunteering to help kind of collect the data. He's called Dave, so I shall also be introducing you all to Dave at some point. So he'll be, if you are willing, to kind of give some testimonials from maybe your group along the line as we go through the year. And that's the plan. It's a loose plan at the moment, but we've got kind of ideas in place. So that's where the research is at the moment. That's all right. Any questions? There's a lot going on behind the scenes, as you can probably tell. So yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting. And I also sent around, sorry, I've bombarded people with information today because I kind of got all this out before I go away next week. And also really synchronistically, I was introduced to an idea, somebody locally, for the Emerging Proud Day next year. So I've circulated that info to you all as well, which I think could be a really good event for you all to do with your group if you're interested in taking part. There's lots of information and resources online for that. So no rush, because it's for May next year. Just to let you know what that was about. I will share something exciting with you on that note, actually. I've got, I don't know if you remember Magdalena, who's the human rights lawyer from Emerging Proud Film. She was talking about how we would like to create a law around spiritual emergence, kind of not being pathologized. She's got a job in Jerusalem teaching Palestinian students and she's agreed to run an Emerging Proud event in Jerusalem in May. So not only are we going to have Uganda and Africa, we're going to have Jerusalem now this next coming year. So that feels really significant. It's like the doctors, interestingly enough, the psychiatrists in Jerusalem call that apparently they have a lot of people flocking there, and they call it the Jerusalem syndrome. And they say people basically go there and spontaneously wake up and go into this kind of belief that they're the new Messiah and that kind of thing. And so it's about bringing the education of spiritual emergence to them as well. Yeah, there's a lot going on. But that's kind of not public information at the moment. So going to be talking to Magdalena about doing some videos about her human rights work in relation to trying to bring in some more protection for people who are going through spiritual emergence. And she's worked at the UN, so she's got contacts with the UN as well. So yeah, slowly, kind of gently, but things are moving in the right direction, I think. Yeah, so sorry, lots of information there. I'll follow it up with an email with some of the other thing I haven't mentioned actually is the TEK welcome book. So you've had the Assist welcome book, but I've done an updated TEK version. So I'll send you that if you would have a look at them both and just use whichever feels best for you to use, because you will be Assist. You'll be Assist facilitators. So just use whatever works for you. Yeah, I think that's everything from me. I think it would be good as well if we have a sharing call where everyone gets a space to maybe talk about how you feel after the training and have a bit more of I said to Elizabeth today, I'm really aware that people didn't have space to kind of debrief last Thursday, and it feels like that's needed, but today didn't feel appropriate to do that. And if you're holding on to anything that needs to be expressed around what happened, if you can do that on a one-to-one call with Elizabeth, she has said that that's fine. It just doesn't feel that it's appropriate to do that now with Sarah and Tim sort of not here. So yeah, but I think people are holding a lot of emotion around that. So if you need to talk it through, then Elizabeth's open to having calls. So yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Please do.
I have it in my head that Emerging Kind is the umbrella name for the organisation, and Emerging Proud is the name for the campaign, and I'm wondering if that's correct.
Okay, so emerging, yeah, it's a good question. I should probably do a diagram actually, and I think I did on the resource sheet. There is a little diagram that shows the Emerging Kind being under like how the charity works, but I probably need to do a bigger diagram. So Emerging Proud is like the umbrella campaign, and then Emerging Kind is a project under that campaign umbrella. So Emerging Kind came out of what happened with Emerging Proud was we had a launch event last May. So 12th of May was the international launch, and we had 14 countries hosted open space events where they talked about the question rethinking mental illness, and the conversations were about what do you think we need in communities to kind of I can't remember exactly the question, but it was about what do we need in communities to help reframe mental illness, and kind of what resources do we need. So what came out of that international report, I sent harvest forms around to all of the countries, and the biggest things that came out of those reports internationally. The international report is on the Emerging Proud website if you want to have a look at it. But the biggest outcomes were that in every country actually that took part, so it didn't matter where they were in the world, they all said safe spaces where people could be validated, talk about their stuff with peers that understood, that had been through it, were kind of the main important thing that came out of that. So emerging kind support groups and safe spaces have kind of come out of that need that was addressed in the Emerging Proud campaign.
Cool.
Was born. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it absolutely does. So with speaking to venues and things, would you use the word, so it's a peer support group which is part of the Emerging Proud campaign?
Yeah. I kind of, to be honest, I normally sense into how open people are to hearing, knowing what language I use, and I tend not to use the word spirituality if I'm talking in general. Actually, that's something I did forget to mention. I went to a meeting with our local Mind. They're looking at collaborating with local organisations and kind of generating new ideas to be more innovative. So one of the things that I was thinking as another kind of safety net for our groups around the UK is if we could have links with the local Mind. And although they're not necessarily open to this, way of thinking, they have lots of practical crisis support. And I'm friends with one of the managers at my local Mind here in Norwich. And I met up with her the other night, and after a couple of glasses of wine, she said, it would be brilliant if I could put it on the intranet about your groups that you're starting, so that each group has a connection with their local Mind for practical support. So say if somebody goes into crisis and they need, help with, I don't know, a support worker to go out to help them stabilise, or, with housing or anything that might come up, then you've got that link in your community. So that's something else that we're looking into, and I'm going to have more conversations with her about, because they're obviously in Norwich, they're looking at reaching out and connecting more and being more innovative, but that might not be the case in other areas. But she's suggested putting that on there's like a national Mind intranet where these kind of things are suggested. So it might be worth, if you want to check out your local Mind and just see whether they'd be open to. In Wales, they're actually hosting a room for the Spiritual Crisis Network peer groups. So they're letting them go and hold them in there. And I think, with Emerging Proud, I'm coming from the perspective that we're trying to build bridges. We're trying to just bring this new understanding into the mainstream. So, I mean, that would be ideal if you could start to have conversations with any local mental health charities as another bridge building kind of thing. And that's what I've learned a lot, actually, is through the Emerging Proud campaign, is to tone down the pushing the spiritual stuff and just open up conversations more around, seeing mental distress as a transformation process. That's the wording I usually use, rather than, someone being broken or they're not able to recover, because people tend to be more open to that. But use whatever feels right for you. You can sense into how open people are to things. But yeah, there's lots of information on their website, and if you need anything else to help with that, then let me know. Anyone else got anything to add or ask or suggest? And I know it's Sunday afternoon. and I'm flagging as well. So I got these on. My eyes are starting to get really sore, and I think my body's saying, like, get off the laptop. Cool.
Katie, when is our next meeting supposed to be?
That's a good point. Okay, so if we're doing the second and third Thursdays of the month, the first one would be this coming Thursday, and I'm away.
I can't do it. No.
When would you like to start? Would you like to continue to meet like now, sort of, you know, soonish, to keep talking, or would you rather wait until after Christmas?
I've got down in my diary a date for the 26th of November on a Sunday. That's not happening? Next Sunday? No. I don't know how I've got it in there.
I don't know.
Bizarre. Yeah, right. Okay, that goes out.
Maybe it was just, I don't know, about today.
Right.
I don't know, personally, I feel like it would be quite good to stay connected and just to kind of chat about practicalities and who's doing what, and not necessarily do any deep sharing, but keep talking about plans. I don't know, other people might feel differently. How do you feel? Or is Christmas kind of too busy a time to be thinking about that?
Looking at my diary, I'm only free one Thursday and up to Christmas anyhow. So.
Anyone else? Graham, we can probably have a coffee. Should we meet for a coffee and talk about it? We can talk about your screening and stuff. I'm down the road again.
I know. Yes, yes, you and me, Katie, definitely.
With a flask.
Yeah, no, for sure. We'll meet in person. Yeah, definitely. We'll be in touch about that for sure.
Okay.
For sure, yes.
Just thinking about organising another screening here. We could do the 7th of December. Yeah.
What was that?
The 7th of December for a call. Would you do that?
Yeah, I think.
Okay. Well, I'll circulate that as an idea, and then if people don't know where you're at, even if it's practical stuff about, you know, what do we need to provide for our folders, that kind of thing, because a sister asking us to provide like lists of resources and things, aren't they? So.
When is the meeting with Linda going to take place, do you think?
I'm going to send a doodle poll around. So.
Oh right, okay.
Or we could use the 7th for that.
All right, I don't think I'll be there. I'm going to that disorder for everybody in Liverpool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll say I'll set up one for the 7th.
Okay.
And then talk about. Well, I'll send a doodle poll around the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the call on the 7th?
Just a sharing call, really, so that we can check in and see where everyone's at, and see if people want to talk about anything that is still confusing, or, you know, screening plans or group ideas or anything like that. Anything that comes up. So not a have to be there call, just to be there if you need people, kind of thing, sharing. Okay. Anything else? Anything that's kind of like, you know, not covered, that's sort of still a big question. Not that I can answer. Just wondering if there's anything on by Elizabeth. No.
No.
All right.
Cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Your Sunday afternoon. Have a lovely evening. Hi to everyone. Hopefully they can make the 7th. Yeah, it'll be a time to read. All right. Have a lovely evening, everyone.
See you soon, everyone.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you, Katie. Thank you.
Hello.
Speak soon.
Bye. Bye.